A great national anthem being sung here at Dunlap High School. Apologies if you couldn't hear us there for the first couple opening minutes. We had a small technical malfunction that we were able to get corrected here, but we are ready to get things going here. Again, if you weren't able to hear us, we were just saying going to be a great matchup. Obviously, two really good basketball teams. Richwoods, obviously the underdog in this one, if you want to go by seeding, the 6th seed, but they've been very strong this year, and the Big 12 is no joke.
Yeah, Big 12's no joke, Mid-Illini's no joke. Both these conferences, we see a few different matchups, two of them here tonight with our doubleheader, but both of these teams have played tough competition all year long. Richwoods, no joke as well. They've played a lot of tough teams, and they've been able to, despite being a lower seed than some teams, really make a statement in those games. Certainly,
and you look at Dunlap, they're finished second in the Mid-Illini Conference, and Richwoods, they took down the Mid-Illini champion, Washington, not that long ago on Clutch Sports Media. So that just gives you an idea of who they can beat. They can hang with anybody. As the Dunlap starting lineups, they get announced. We'll get those to you now. Richwoods starting 5. It goes like this. Adriana Barber, Alana Ross, the junior guard, one of 2 Alana Rosses on the team. That one is the Alana with 1 N. Other starters, they have Cameron Hyder, a junior guard, Alexi Bear, a freshman guard who will touch on it in a second, Teddy. And then their starting lineup will be rounded out by Addison Church, number 25, a junior forward. Dunlap starting 5 will go like this. Julia Solberger and Sophia Remmel, the 1-2 duo for the Dunlap Eagles. Justice Cruz down low, a junior forward in the paint. And they'll also be joined by Peyton Haley and Caroline Holmes, latter of which is a freshman guard. As we get things ready to tip off here. And we are away here in Dunlap for semifinal number 2. It's Dunlap winning the tip, and Solberger with it now in the corner. Feed down low to Cruz in between 2 defenders, and she couldn't quite get it to go there. And now Richwoods will take it back the other way. And Teddy, real quick, we were talking about key players before this game for Richwoods. We really want to focus in on Lexi Bear, who's been really lethal from behind the 3-point line.
Yeah, Lexi Bear's been a really good contributor for Richwoods. She's a really good shooter. Definitely got to have a great leadership as well, because Richwoods has been very successful all season long, and they go against a tough Eagles team and see what team turns out on top tonight.
That foul will go on Lexi Bear for Richwoods. That'll be the first foul of this ball game. That will send Peyton Haley, the senior forward, to the line. First free throw rims out. Tough break there, so we're still scoreless. Just 40 seconds into this game. Glad you're with us here on either ClutchSportsIL.com and CIProud.com as well, wherever you happen to be tuning in, as Haley drops down the first point of this one. Dunlap with a quick early lead. Now it's Cameron Hyder, a junior guard with it for Richwoods. Now up top it's Adriana Barber. Drives in there on Haley and decides to kick it back out. Here's Bear, 3 in the corner, up and no good, and the rebound will be controlled by the Dunlap. Here's Sophia Remmel now. Drives in on Alana Ross and lost the basketball. It's Bear with it.
That's going to be an interesting thing to watch out for. Last game, turnovers were a big cause, and we'll see how that turns out through this game as well. Big cause for Peoria's win, I should say.
Yeah, Peoria High just really rattled Metamora offensively, especially in getting some traps and just jumping the passing lanes. Good defense leads to easy offense, and it did for Peoria High in that game as Remmel drives in past Barber. She's pushed from behind. Tough fall there for Remmel. She's helped back up there by her teammates Haley and Cruz. That one will go on Adriana Barber, so 2 early fouls for Richwoods. Remmel surveys the court. finds Cruz. Looks like she was going to Solberger. Cruz elevated there for good defense there from Hyder. Tried to strip it away. Feed down low is blocked. Great defense there from the Knights in the post. Looked like that may have been Hyder that came away with the block. Good hands on the other end there by Peyton Haley, and it will stay with Richwoods.
Yeah, John, early on, despite being a low-scoring affair through 2 minutes, very physical, very fast. It's been fun so far.
Hyder inbounds it, and it's Bear with it now. As here's Ross, defended by Peyton Haley. Two of her teammates, Barber and Hyder, come curling around. She drives the lane, no good. Rebound from Church. She couldn't get it to go, and it will go back to Dunlap. So a little bit of a defensive struggle so far in this one, Teddy. Both teams playing really well, not letting many shots go up and doing a good job of rebounding as well.
Yeah, John, it's the first of these two teams' playoff experience this year. A little nervous so far, but we'll see how they can counteract that throughout the rest of the game, as playoff basketball brings a different type of atmosphere.
Here's Hyder with it. Three ball from Ross is no good. And it will stay here with the Knights. And just 1-0 so far in this one. Only point so far going on a free throw from Dunlap's Peyton Haley. And the Knights will calm down and set up their offense. Hyder tells Barber to give her some open space. Church with the screen. Hyder doesn't take it. Nice feed down low. Church was blocked by Justice Cruz, and now here comes Dunlap the other way. And they'll slow things down. That one goes off the leg of Holmes and back over to Richwoods.
What a play by Cruz. Really got up there to make that play.
Justice Cruz, a player for Dunlap that not usually their leading scorer, although she can be sometimes. Here comes Remmel in the open court, and she will jump stop, decide better, and lays it. That was Peyton Haley, who just couldn't quite get it to go. You can tell the expression on her face, she was a little frustrated about that one, that she let that one go. But going back to Cruz, Teddy, you know, she's a player that won't really be their leading scorer many times, but she gets so many assists and rebounds. And she's really just an indispensable part of this Dunlap team.
And that's what you need, John. All these teams you see that make it in the deep playoff runs, they don't just have a #1 scorer or #1 defender. They have people that are well-rounded and that can get you buckets, get you stops. That's what you need on your team.
It's a great point there as Lexi Bayer gets a 3 for Richwoods. Now here they come the other way. Could be a little mini run started as Ross had it poked out. Go back to Dunlap. Great job there by Remmel and Cruz, tag teaming for the defense and giving the Eagles the ball back. Referees are discussing that, and it will be a Richwoods. We saw that a little bit in the first game, Teddy. A couple calls that were initially called one way, and then the refs have a little convention, and they decided to change the call. So Richwoods, the beneficiaries there.
You gotta like that though, John. Refs being able to admit when they're wrong and make sure they're making the right play, as a 3 lands there for Dunlap. Sorry, for Richwoods.
It was Lexi Bayer again. Dunlap has got to have a game plan to stop her, otherwise they could be digging out of a hole here tonight on their home court. Bayer is all 6 for the Knights as Remmel hands it off to Solberger. Remmel, a senior for this Dunlap team. Just celebrated their senior night not long ago. We were here in the building for it when they face off against Morton. Foul will go there on Alyssa Ross. That's the 3rd foul on Richwoods this half. Dunlap, they don't have a foul so far yet. Clean basketball being played by the Eagles, and then that'll be another one. That one may also go on Alyssa Ross. Instead, looks like that one went on Brania Hickman, the junior center for the Knights, who recently checked into the game. Something to keep an eye on. Nice defense there from Hickman. Almost climbed to the back of Haley and got it steal cleanly. Hyder in transition, turns around for the post, it's up and good. 8-0 run from Richwoods, and Heather Cassidy wants a timeout for Dunlap. How about the start to the game of the Richwoods Knights, leading 8-1 in Dunlap's home gym.
Very fast paced. They're able to take advantage of early mistakes for Dunlap, and it's really showing on the scoreboard. But we know for Dunlap, a team like them, they've played very, very well at home, 8-1. The only loss they have at home is against that Morton Potters team you mentioned earlier, as we were there for that night. Still a really close game, so really hard to win in this arena here. But Richwoods is making a statement so far.
Whenever they got cooking, it's working for them right now. After a slow start, an 8-0 run in the span of about 3 minutes, they've really got them going. That's the thing about the playoffs that we mentioned in the last game, Teddy, is there's really no room for error, so probably a good timeout called there by Heather Cassidy of Dunlap. As it's Haley in the post, her runner was no good. 2 tough looks that Haley couldn't quite get to go right there at the rim and just fell off. Ross thought about a 3, instead drives in. More great defense from Justice Cruz. And she got held. That's going to be the 5th foul of the quarter on Richwoods. And might be the 2nd on Brenia Hickman.
And that's something you got to watch out for. You might have the early lead, but those fouls can really get you later on in the game.
It certainly could. That foul goes on Alana Ross. You know, that's how teams climb back into games, Teddy, is just, giving up points at the free throw line. That obviously helps that they're fairly high percentage looks compared to most other shots that you'll take from the field. Solberger's 3 is waved off because of a travel. That'll give it back to the Knights, so probably one that Solberger.
But yes, John, I agree.
Back.
Those free throws and those fouls can really come back and get you. We've seen it several times on probably crazier instances, more than a 7-point lead, but especially with teams of this caliber, no lead is safe.
Definitely not. We've seen both these teams play with big leads and come back a little bit as well. Tough jumper there from Bear. Just rolled off the rim, but Brenia Hickman right there with the board. Here's Laya Spratling, transfer from Peoria High, driving in. Nice job by Hyder to find the open lane, but couldn't finish with her left hand. And Dunlap will take it now the other way. Here's Keelis Morris, cross-court pass over to Remmel for 3. Off the iron and no good. Haley tried to sort of bat it off of Hyder there, but to no avail. It will be Richwoods' ball with 1:31 left here in the first quarter here in Dunlap.
Despite the slow start, Dunlap has done a really good job of taking creative shots and making sure they have good looks. It's just something that will come later on in the game. Eventually move the ball around enough, you will find your rhythm.
Great feed down low to Hickman was no good. Now here come the Eagles. Great defense that Richwoods has played so far. And being double teamed in the post there at Sutton Santoni, the freshman, she has it taken away. Real tough sledding for Dunlap in the first quarter here, at least on the offensive end. Still looking for their first field goal. And that is a carry there for Alyssa Ross. So both teams turned the ball over a decent amount here in the first quarter, something to keep an eye on. Seems like no one really wants to take control of this one in the early going. Great defense there. That was Ross who tipped it. And now a foul on Spratley, and there's number 6, Teddy. So now with the 7th team foul, Richwoods, they'll be putting Dunlap in the bonus for the rest of the first half.
And that's huge. That's something, especially when you're not able to hit a lot of your shots early on, those free throws can definitely help you out and set your rhythm and get your pace going a little bit.
30 seconds left to go. Here they feed the post. More great defense from Hickman. Physical play without fouling. Ross hands it over to Hyder and drives past her defender, but not before she got fouled. So it doesn't look like the basket will count. That foul will go on Caroline Holmes. As here, almost a little bit of a sarcastic cheer there for Richwoods. They say, well, it's about time you call one on Dunlap. It's our first foul of the game. And there's a foul there on, rather not a foul, as a travel by Lexi Bear. Ball back to Dunlap. The Eagles are playing some good defense. Obviously, unforced error there from Richwoods. But aside from those little stretch of 3 buckets that they gave up, they've played good D as well here in this first quarter.
Yeah, both teams, very good defense. 8 points in the first quarter, although they're winning by 7. Dunlap has done a good job at limiting the shots and the shots to fall for the Knights as they get their first non-free throw to land going into the second quarter.
And it's Sutton Santoni sinking it for Dunlap, the freshman forward. It's their first field goal of the game. It's 8-3 Richwoods after 1 here. We'll take a quick break, come back with the second quarter live here on ClutchSportsIL.com and CIProud.com as well. Be right back after the break.
Sam Lehman of Morton, the #1 Ram truck dealer in the Midwest. Shop during our Start Something New sales event and save on brand new Rams in stock. Take $10,000 off brand new Ram Bighorn crew cabs. Plus, shop our brand new Jeep Hybrid 4xe Wrangler and Grand Cherokee models and save with a $7,500 tax credit. And take $4,000 off a brand new Jeep Cherokee. Don't forget about our brand new lineup of Chrysler Pacificas and Pacifica Hybrids. Only at Sam Lehman of Morton.
The Jansen Law Center, representing Illinois injury victims for over 40 years.
Involved in an automobile crash? Take out your cell phone. Touch #4-LAW and you reach the Jansen Law Center. You have the power and experience of the Jansen Law Center behind your claim.
Jay Jansen. One name says it all.
Welcome back here to Dunlap, getting started right away here in the second quarter. Richwoods leading 8-3. Hey, looks like a violation of some sorts there. Looks like possibly a Knight ran out of bounds and then came back, was the first one to touch the ball. I'll give it back to the Eagles, the 4 seed in their own regional, playing on their home court. Got to figure that gives them big advantage. They're probably pretty happy. Obviously, we find out that they were hosting this regional. I'm not sure when that's decided, but anytime you can play at home in the playoffs, it's a huge advantage.
Yeah, John, like we mentioned earlier, the Eagles are 8-1 in their home court, so to be able to host a playoff game of that caliber, it's definitely going to root in your favor a little bit.
Here's Adriana Barber's 3, hit the right side of the rim, and Remmel has no numbers, so he'll slow it down. And cross-court pass over to Keelis Morris. Dunlap, they've done some nice cross-court passing so far. Morris being hounded there, and Heather Cassidy wants a timeout. That will be her second of the game. It looks like it will be a full timeout.
John, one thing I was going to mention earlier on, the loss the Eagles had against Morton, Heather Cassidy did not call as many fouls as you might expect a losing team to call in the second half. But that was, I think a lot of it comes down to having your team trust themselves, try to figure it out on their own. One of the last regular season games, but now going into the playoffs, she obviously wants them to have a more successful playoff run. But if your team can figure it out close and almost beat a Morton team as good as they are, you definitely trust them here in the playoffs. Down 5.
Certainly, obviously, being down 5 is definitely not the end of the world. It's been such a defensive basketball game so far. So you look back there at the Knights that, it seems like it's bigger than it is. I'm sure that's what Heather Cassidy was reminding her team is, hey, we're only down 5 right now. We only need a couple of buckets. And, we've already seen the clutch play of Sophia Remmel and company in crunch time earlier this year.
Earlier this week?
Actually,
last week, that would be.
Last week, Sophia Remmel hitting that 3 in the corner to take down Washington and end the Panthers' perfect Mid-Illini season. That was a huge win for this Eagles team. Obviously, the seeding had already been decided, but gave them lots of momentum. But I'm sure they probably wished, as Remmel throws up a crazy shot with 2 hands, that will stay on the Eagles' end. But I'm sure Dunlap maybe hoping that maybe they hadn't seeded the bracket, because that was a big signature win over Washington. Maybe could have bumped him up to the 3 seed.
Any momentum you can take going into the playoffs is good momentum, though. They were 0-2 going into that Washington game, and then since then they won 2 straight, so able to get back a little bit of the confidence they might have lost, although this team is very confident and swagger-filled team.
Certainly, and Dunlap, a team that's been hovering around the top 10 of the state in Class 3A, and that foul will go on Bernia Hickman. That will be her second, and that'll put Dunlap in the bonus for the rest of the first half. So good aware play there by Justice Cruz. She'll head to the line for a 2. It was a shooting foul. Her first one is no good, but again, Dunlap's been in and out of the top 10 in the AP poll for most of the year. They're not in it right now. I'm sure those 2 losses near the end of the season hurt them just a bit, but they're right there in the conversation as Cruz's second free throw falls for her first point of the game. Dunlap went 22-6 on the season and 11-3 in the Mid-Illini Conference. Remmel got crossed up there by Hyder, and the shot was missed. Now here come the Eagles. Solberger was going full speed, had it poked out. It'll remain Dunlap basketball. Peyton Haley checks in for the Eagles, and Remmel checks out. Again, one field goal in the game for the Eagles. That came on a layup by freshman forward Sutton Santoni right at the end of the first quarter. Solberger drives the lane. Maybe layup number 2 is good. That's Solberger's first points of the game, and just like that, a 3-0 run. Doesn't seem that big, but an 8-6 ball game, that's got to feel pretty good as Dunlap climbs back a little bit closer.
Yeah, John, just a minute ago, Remmel went to the bench. Looked like she might have been slightly limping, but she looks like she's okay now. Talked to the trainer, got back on the bench. Hopefully we'll see her back in the game for the Eagles.
Well, their Eagles just got the turnover there. Their crowd and their bench is loving their defense. Heather Cassidy's pumped up. Went to more behind her interest in history as it relates to this basketball game during a timeout. Keyless Morris, what a save there by, looked like that was Caroline Holmes, but shouts it right back to Adriana Barber. Her layup was no good, and it will stay with Richwoods.
So far, a really clean game by the Eagles. Just one foul with 5 minutes to go in the first half.
Here's Lexi Bear, a 3, and it's off the mark. Fought for on the floor. Possession arrow favors Dunlap. And they'll get it back with a chance to either tie or take the lead. So often in the playoffs, Teddy, again, I'm sure you've watched at least a couple IHSA playoff basketball games, but you know, some of the best ones are usually these low-scoring ones because it turns out to be a matter of, well, who's going to blink first? You know, as they say, basketball is a game of mistakes. You know, everybody makes them. It's just a matter of who makes the least amount of mistakes. This game, I think, could really emphasize that.
Yeah, especially 2 teams like this where you know they can score a lot of points because they've done it before, but when they're able to both have really good defensive games, you got to think what they can do later on when they're scoring a lot like they normally do, and they add that defensive game, they can go really far in the playoffs.
Adriana Barber checks out for Richwoods. And Lexi Bear, the leading scorer for both teams. She's got 6. Could be 9 here with a triple. It is! Lexi Bear has dropped in a trio of 3-pointers. And she's got 9 to lead the Richwoods Knights, who now lead 11-6 here, nearly halfway through quarter number 2 at Dunlap Regional Semifinals. Driving the lane was Solberger. She goes up and will get called for a foul called against her, I should say. That one will go on Addison Church, her first foul. And not only is Dunlap picking up fouls, Teddy, but they're doing so in a smart way, because if they were maybe trying to get just some blocking calls or, you know, reach-in calls, they'd be shooting 1-and-1 in the bonus, but they're getting their more fouls by drawing shooting fouls. So technically, you know, these, you know, would regularly be bonus free throws, but since you're in the act of shooting, it's almost like you get an early taste of the double bonus as Solberger drops in her second free throw. 3-pointer from Ross off the mark, but rebounded by Alana Ross. That was Alyssa Ross with the original 3-pointer. She's got it now. Working on Peyton Haley, a senior for Dunlap. A bank shot is up and good. How about that shot from Alana Ross? It's Richwoods' lucky day. They lead 14-7. Crowd getting loud for the Knights. Just when Dunlap thought they were going to get back in it, Richwoods surged right back. Now here's Haley with it. Cross court. Solberger now. Tough drive over a jumping Ross, and it's no good, but nice rebound there from Peyton Haley. She's been all over the place. Now Remmel left open in the corner. 3-ball, no good. It's a fight to see who gets it. It's Cameron Hyder. She goes 2-on-3, and traffic throws it up. And she'll head to the stripe. Nice composure there for Cameron Hyder, going full speed in transition, able to get 2 free throws out of it.
That's big. One thing I've noticed early on, especially in that last possession, Richwood's size is starting to play a key. They're able to get those offensive rebounds, and Dunlap, despite having good defenders, and you never know what can happen, but early on, it's looking pretty great for the Richwoods Knights. As Cruz checks out, sorry.
And you're look at Hyder. Second free throw is up and good. So just like that, a 7-0 run for the Richwoods Knights as Cameron Hyder gets her third and fourth points of the game. Morris now over to Remmel, driving in and throws it up. How did that shot go down? I didn't even see her release it, and it still found the bottom of the net. Sophia Remmel, the magician. Nice bucket there for Dunlap. That's just her first of the evening. Miss on the other end. Now here comes Solberger. All five Knights were bunched up. It was wide open right side of the court. Couldn't force it over there. Remmel thought about a 3. Drives it on Bear. Another one is up and no good. Second chances though. Sophia Remmel getting some good paint work in.
I stand a little corrected on that height thing I just mentioned, John. Sophia Remmel, past 2, has been able to score in the paint.
Remmel stands at 5'6". No real skyscrapers in this game, although Dunlap's got a couple tall forwards. Sutton Santoni at 6'1". A couple more forwards on the bench, like Sam Matheny is 6 foot. Here's Bear now, one-handed right-hand floater, and it's off the mark, and now here comes Dunlap. This game is being defined by mini runs. It was Richwoods leading 8-1, and Dunlap scored a couple in a row, and now Richwoods has scored, well, Richwoods scored 7 in a row. Now Dunlap had a little 4-0 run, so just give and take all game long. Setting up for a real exciting second half.
John, we go back to that Sophia Remmel 2-possession run there. The other day against Morton, quiet all throughout the game, and in the fourth quarter ended up with 15, not in the fourth, but a little bit over 15 throughout the game. And then the next day, able to do just about the same, including a game winner, almost buzzer beater. So when she's hot, she really knows she's really the person to go to, but Eagles have a few of those on their roster.
Remmel can certainly carry a team in crunch time. As Dunlap with it now on the other end. Wide open feed there to Santoni, I believe. Her shot was off, but a good look, a high percentage one nonetheless. I'll take that, most trips down the floor. Here's Hyder with it now as we approach a minute left to go. Her three-pointer is good. Cameron Hyder getting things going for the Knights. Lead back up to 8. And again, that's just what you kind of call the kill shot. Stops the run a little bit. It's a big bucket.
See how the Eagles can respond going into half.
That's a charge. Great job by Brania Hickman. She had 2 fouls. She really didn't want to pick up her third before halftime, and she was planted there as Solberger drove in on her. So great play for Brania Hickman, the junior center. Head coach Todd Hersey is probably pretty happy about that. I don't think I've ever met a coach who doesn't like his player taking a charge. As Richwoods now tries to get past the soft press for Dunlap. A wide open look for Ross. She got stopped. And her bucket was no good. Now about 30 seconds left to play. We'll see if Dunlap holds for the last possession. They probably will, I would assume. Remmel gives it over to Caroline Holmes, just a freshman for Dunlap. And Morris walked with it, picked up her pivot foot there. That's a costly turnover. You get a bucket on that possession, you could go into halftime down just 5, but you give it back to Richwoods. Now with the three-pointer, they could be doubling you up. It's crazy how this ball game can swing sometimes.
Like you say, John, it's been a tale of a few runs. It's been back and forth, and in different ways, not just the scoreboard.
Try our best to track all the runs that take place throughout the rest of this game. Richwoods on a 3-0 run right now. Can Bear add to it before the half? No good, but she traveled. Wouldn't have really mattered anyway. Don't think Dunlap would have had any time to get a shot off. But first quarter in the books, Teddy. It's been a good one so far. Defensive game. Should be a tooth and nail battle in the second half, but overall your first impressions through the first 16 minutes is the Knights lead at 19-11.
I think for Richwoods, although, like we mentioned, it's been a defensive battle so far. Richwoods has had the better hand on offense. I think the one thing for them, you got to cool out on the fouls a little bit, and for Dunlap, got to make sure you're passing the ball around like you were early on in the first, and just get the ball to fall a little bit more, and that comes with one shot to land, and the rest will follow. So that's for me.
See the fans there on your screen. Some of them heading, I'm assuming, to the concession stand. Good crowd here on hand, but to see the Dunlap Eagles and the Richwoods Knights, it's the IHSA regional semifinals here on Clutch Sports Media. The winner takes on Peoria High on Thursday. A loser, well, their season is done. The Dunlap faithful here don't want to see their home Eagles lose, but will the Knights have other plans? Find out here in the second half. We'll step aside for a quick word for our sponsors. Come back in a couple minutes, recap the first half, preview the second half on Clutch Sports Media, on ClutchSportsIL.com and CIProud.com. We'll be back right after this.
Kick off your career today at Royal Publishing.
Start your day with a delicious handcrafted breakfast at Excellent Cafe. From appetizing avocado toast to a perfect pancake, Bloody Marys, and mimosas, our staff is here every morning to send you to work with a smile.
Here is Strong Law. We're always watching out for you. Every time you lace up your shoes, every shot you take, every drive to the basket, every practice, every game you play, we are here, waiting if you need us. The same effort that you put into your craft, we put into ours. So keep taking your best shot, and Strong Law will always take the best shot for you.
There's a lot of talk about big corners, big dealers, big inventory, and big lots. At Bob Grimm Chevrolet Morton, we believe the biggest point is being missed: the buyer.
We never got any surprises. When they told us a price, that's what it was. That's why I kept coming back. We just always enjoyed the way they treated us. They truly do it the Bob Grimm way, which is they treat the customer like they want to be treated.
Visit GrimmChevy.com and drive away your new vehicle your way. That
The Jansen Law Center, representing Illinois injury victims for over 40 years.
Involved in an automobile crash? Take out your cell phone, touch #4-LAW, and you reach the Jansen Law Center. You have the power and and experience of the Jansen Law Center behind your claim.
Jay Jansen. One name says it all.
There's a lot of talk about big. Big corners, big dealers, big inventory, and big lots. At Bob Grimm Chevrolet Morton, we believe the biggest point is being missed: the buyer.
We never got any surprises. When they told us a price, that's what it was. That's why I kept coming back. We just always enjoyed the way they treated us. They truly do it the Bob Grimm way, which is they treat the customer like they want to be treated.
Visit GrimmChevy.com and drive away your new vehicle your way. That's the Bob Grimm way.
Start your day with a delicious handcrafted breakfast at Excellent Cafe. From appetizing avocado toast to a perfect pancake, Bloody Marys, and mimosas, our staff is here every morning to send you to work with a smile.
Kick off your career today at Royal Publishing.
Welcome back to Dunlap High School. It's halftime between the regional semifinal between the 4th-seeded Dunlap Eagles and then the 6th-seeded Richwoods Knights. Wrapping things up here at halftime. Just a couple minutes left here on the clock as we get ready to go. But Teddy, let's recap the first half a little bit. And in the spirit of the holiday that's coming up, and officially just a few hours, Valentine's Day. Let's give us some first half Valentine's. What do you love from both teams, starting with Dunlap?
I think one thing I love for Dunlap, they've been really good at like holding down and playing a very clean game and capitalizing on Richwoods fouls. That's something that Richwoods might not love, is the amount of fouls they have. But as for Richwoods, they're loving how Dunlap's playing. I mean, Dunlap, although they're having a very good defensive outing, offensively it's not as great, but that's why we have a second half of basketball. Historically, Sophia Remmel has been a very good second half basketball player, and there's a lot of basketball left to play, so should be interesting. But those are my second half and first half Valentines.
Well, second half Valentines, we'll maybe revisit that at the end of the game, and we'll see who will be loving their performance tonight. And, if you win, you get a regional title date with none other than the Peoria High Lions. So that'll be a pretty tough game for either team involved, but everybody's so talented. You can almost just go without the whole seeding for both this regional and over the Limestone regional. Also taking place tonight as well. We got word that Washington beat Limestone, so they'll be playing for a regional title against the winner of Peoria Notre Dame and Morton. That game going on right now. We'll try and get you a score update on that as soon as we find it. As we get ready here for half number 2, it'll be Richwoods basketball to start things out. And it's Adriana Barber giving it now to Hyder. And if we keep track on those scoring runs that have been so prevalent in this game, Gavin, Richwoods, believed, not mistaken, has a 3-0 run going right now. Almost made it 5 there. Church was wide open, streaking near the post, but the ball will stay with the Knights. It'll be interesting to see what Dunlap does on defense, Teddy, because only 3 players scored for the Knights. As here comes a wide open chance in transition. Here's Remmel. Good defense by Ross getting back. What a save from Remmel over to Cruz. Now a 3-pointer from Holmes is good. How about that basketball play by Dunlap?
And that's exactly what we talked about, John, being able to, obviously like move the ball around like they did. I don't know, that one wasn't really probably too planned, but great possession and great save by Sophia Remmel. Able to move the ball around, get that one shot to land, and that could change the trajectory of the rest of this game.
You said Remmel was a second half player. Well, she must have heard you. 3-pointer right off, or rather that was Holmes, I should say, right off the bat, but Remmel had the initial save. Got to give her credit, and nice pass from Justice Cruz as well. Solberger now finds Remmel in the corner. Now kicks it down low. Wide open Holmes again, almost had it, but gets her offensive rebound. Came right back to her. Remmel drives in and got stripped and got fouled. Looks like that one might go on Alana Ross. And that'll be her second foul of the game. And again, Teddy, you mentioned, gotta watch the fouls there if you're Richwoods. That was a quick one to start off the second half.
Almost an identical play there. Going right back to Holmes. Right in the hot hand. Trying to get another 3.
So the student section all rise to their feet. They felt like that one was going in, and it almost did. Gotta love it when you get 2 shots from about the same spot. Muscle memory helps you out. Remmel, 3 top of the key, rolls in. Dunlap finding the 3-point stroke here in the second half, and just like that, a 6-0 run. One possession ball game, and Todd Hersey calls timeout. How about the start? The second half for the Dunlap Eagles. Just like that, you're right back in this game. It's only 2 points away.
What an open to the second half by Dunlap. 2 threes, able to come back like very strong, very fast. Like we mentioned, it was only a 7-point game at half, and it looks a lot worse than it was because, it's a low-scoring affair. But now, just like that, one-possession game, anyone's ball game in playoff basketball.
We'll see how Richwoods decides to defend against Remmel, and we've Dunlap's been pretty good. We've seen their girls basketball team quite a bit here on Clutch Sports Media over the years, and if they are really truly a second half team. We've seen them run away from teams in the second half, and we've also seen them come back from some big deficits and make some clutch plays as well. There's a deep 2 from Brenia Hickman. It's off the mark. Cruz gets the rebound and pushes ahead to Remmel. 2-on-4, no numbers. Solberger now back to Remmel. Wide open near the top of the key. Finds Holmes. That's her spot. 3 ball is off the mark. But again, a close try. Hickman up to Ross. Solberger defending. Lays it up and in. Good finish there by Alana Ross. Solberger almost poked that one out of her hands.
It was a good play by Rimmel, almost stripping the ball, slowing it down. Even if Richwoods did keep possession and they did end up scoring, able to give her teammate a opportunity to get the shot contest there. Just didn't go in their favor.
Solberger a 3 for Dunlap. They're hot right now and they're just trailing by 1. A 9-2 run out of the break and all 9 of them coming from behind the arc. They've caught the 3-point bug. Cameron Hyder's shot looks good, but just grazed the front iron. Now here's Solberger driving in, trying to draw the foul, but she gets the layup. Dunlap with the lead now, and Solberger with 5 straight. Todd Hersey wants another timeout, and Dunlap, they have all the energy right now in their home gym.
That's that momentum we talked about, John. Just like that, it can snap, and you can take control of the game. Just 3 minutes into the second half, and boom, we've seen a big transition.
It took Dunlap 16 minutes to score 11 in the first half. It took them just 2 minutes and 57 seconds to do it already in the second half, doubling their first half output. 22-21, your score right now. This one going to be a little bit tighter than our previous contest where Peoria High just ran away against Metamora. But you never know. Maybe Dunlap keeps it up and keeps this run going. Or maybe Richwoods, finds a way to come back. Obviously, we'll maybe see what sort of defense they might switch to prevent those 3-point looks from happening. But Dunlap, they're finding the most efficient shots on the floor, and that's the 3-pointer and the layups. They're either going big or going home. So far, it's been lots of big here in the second half. Here's Hyder with it for the Knights. She's got 7 tonight behind her teammate Lexi Bear, who has 9. Alana Ross has chipped in 5. Only 3 Knights have scored so far tonight. Total of 6 have found the book for the Eagles. As they get another chance to build on their lead. Rebels 3 was no good. And Hyder almost had it taken away. Wide open is Hickman down low. Remmel tries to come by and play some defense, but it's too little too late. And Brenia Hickman gets her first bucket of the game, and Richwoods back in the driver's seat.
A little back and forth now after Dunlap took over for their first lead of the game. Richwoods able to take it right back.
Now here comes Richwoods again. Dunlap had their run. Now we'll see if it's Richwoods' turn. Hyder thought about a triple there, but decided better of it against Remmel. 3-pointer from Baird. Did a 360. I thought it went down.
Right in and out of the basket. That's an unfortunate shot.
Holmes, another open 3. That one is good. How about that? You see one rim in on one end after it just rimmed out on the other end. Maybe just a sign for Dunlap that this is their half. What an entertaining basketball game we're seeing, and this is only the regional semifinals. Tipped away, and they'll stay with Richwoods.
Just like that, John. The luck of the roll, depending on which way it goes. And have 3 points, or you can walk away with none.
Dunlap, I'm almost lost count. Believe that's been 4 triples now in the half for them. Here's Bear. Oh, my word, the worst luck in the world. I can't believe it. 2 3 balls rim out. Now here's Holmes on the other end. Almost expected that one to rim in, the way things have gone the last about 30 seconds or so. Here's Remmel. Good defense there from Alana Ross. Finds Solberger. Corner 3. Off the mark. But another rebound. Holmes drives the lane, and it couldn't find Haley, who wasn't expecting the pass. Dunlap just seems a lot more confident. The ball is moving a lot better. And that far side, they're getting almost any open look that they want to. Richwoods has got to start playing some defense over there.
Yeah, that possession didn't end up with points, but almost all the rest of them have. And this is something they were doing early in the first. The shots just weren't falling, but Now that we see the first one, the rest, like I said earlier, the rest have fallen, they've followed, and now they're on a little bit of a run.
Shooting is definitely contagious. As weird as it sounds, I'm certainly at least one of the believers that it is. And certainly infected the Dunlap Eagles in the second half. Remmel, tough drive there, and Hyder finds a wide open Haley who can't finish the layup, but gets her own rebound and is fouled. She gives herself a pretty big clap. She's pretty proud of herself. She'll head to the stripe for 2. And that foul goes on Hickman. That's her 3rd. Something to watch for Richwoods.
One thing we have not mentioned so far in the second half, Hickman and the rest of the Eagles have really controlled the boards, and that's what's giving them these second chance possibilities of getting more shots off.
Hickman checks out for Richwoods. Not much of a surprise there. She's played a good game, so they need her in the 4th quarter. Jay Harris, sophomore forward, checks in. Distraction attempt worked there as Haley misses both at the line. Now here comes Alyssa Ross, rather, driving in, the bucket and the foul! What a big play and a big bucket by Alyssa Ross, the junior guard, twin sister of Alana.
John, I think we've seen more lead changes in the past 45 seconds to a minute than we have in the whole game so far. It's been crazy.
Well, it was a game of runs certainly in the first half, but it was really Richwoods leading for most of it. Now the Dunlap has clawed their way back up where Richwoods is, where we could see a ton of lead changes in the final 10 minutes of play. Strap in, folks. Should be a finish for the ages here as both teams fight for their playoff lives. Here's Remmel. Nice pass over to Solberger. Now finds Holmes in the corner.
Can't leave her open.
So they can. We saw her draw up a little step back 3, so she'll shoot anything that she finds open. She can create her own shot. Remmel drives with the left hand, throws it up and tried to draw a foul call. And she did. It was a late call, but she did get fouled. Nice aware play there, trying to maybe get Richwoods to say, hey, we want to get you a little bit more foul trouble like we did in the first half as she heads to the line for 2. First one is off the back iron, so a couple missed opportunities at the line for Dunlap. We'll see how much that plays a factor down the stretch. Second one is up and good. Remmel, by our count, has 8 for Dunlap. Oh, what a feed down low to Hickman, who had it in her hands and just lost it. I think may have been thinking a little bit too far ahead of herself there, as just slipped out of her hands.
John, one thing we have not talked about, former Richwood Knights coach Heather Cassidy, now Dunlap Eagle coach, coached in 2012 to 2013 and went to sectionals with the Richwoods Knights with 26-7 as her record. What does it gotta feel like to get a win against your former team in a playoff matchup?
Certainly lots of interesting storylines there. Heather Cassidy has obviously had lots of success at Dunlap. They won the Mid-Illini title back in 2020, the COVID year, when there was no IHSA playoff. Can only imagine what kind of run the Eagles would have had that year. And Sophia Remmel drops in another 3. How many times have you heard that? She's got 11 now for Dunlap, and they have their biggest lead of the night. It's 4 points. Bayer tries to respond, and it was short. Keelis Morris shuffles it over to Solberger. Under a minute left to play in the 3rd quarter. Dunlap has outscored Richwoods 18-6 in this 3rd quarter.
Yeah, John, whatever Heather Cassidy told this team at halftime, it's definitely worked. They're playing like a whole new team out there, still putting on the defensive effort they had in the first half, just adding a few triples into that.
Good defense by Richwoods down low. What a better pass from Keelis Morris. She finds Solberg, who goes up with it, tried to get fouled and didn't. Rebound goes to Ross. She runs the floor. Now here's Bayer. Has an open Ross, who's right there for the offensive rebound. pretty much a glorified pass there. Works just the same. Now with 5 on the clock, it's Remmel. Who else throws it up? Almost got it to go. That would have about brought the roof down here in Dunlap.
John, at this point in the game, I don't think I see a team pulling away. Both teams competitive drives, just keeping them in this game. Lead change, lead change, lead change so far in the third.
Remmel's first free throw is good. I certainly think this, if obviously basketball, football, two different sports, but it reminds me a lot of the Super Bowl yesterday. Game was, obviously in the first half, Richwoods, could say they were like the Eagles. They were up 24-14. And it was a close game all the way until the finish, but it's Dunlap scoring 20 points in the third quarter after putting up just 11 in the first half of play. They outscored the Knights 20-6 in the third and lead them by 4 going into the fourth quarter. Don't go anywhere, folks. Fourth quarter coming up right after this on Clutch Sports Media.
Sam Lehman of Morton, the #1 Ram truck dealer in the Midwest. Shop during our Start Something New sales event and save on brand new Rams in stock. Take $10,000 off brand new Ram Bighorn crew cabs. Plus, shop our brand new Jeep Hybrid 4xe Wrangler and Grand Cherokee models and save with a $7,500 tax credit. And take $4,000 off a brand new Jeep Cherokee. Don't forget about our brand new lineup of Chrysler Pacificas and Pacifica Hybrids. Only at Sam Lehman of Morton.
Welcome back to Dunlap. It's winning time at the Eagles' Nest. Will it be the 4th-seeded Dunlap Eagles with a 6th-seeded Richwoods Knights? That's anyone's guess at this point in the game.
John, over the break, Dunlap coach Heather Cassidy trying to hype up her team, get a little bit more of a lead to what they have right now. She's hyped me up. I was up here on the other side of the court here. I can only imagine what the girls on the court are feeling with the momentum on their side.
Certainly, and the playoff adrenaline is certainly no joke. And you look at obviously you mentioned the seniors. They don't want to take the last court or take the court for the last time. Dunlap seniors, Sophia Remmel, so she's fighting for her high school career to stay alive. She's off to play at Morton College, a junior college up in Cicero, Illinois, next year. Peyton Haley, a senior as well for Dunlap. That's all the seniors that they have, though. And for Richwoods, Khalees Thomas is senior for them, and that's also it for Richwoods. So lots of teams that are juniors and sophomores. What a play there by Haley, who tried to save it, couldn't. Bear on the other end, hop steps, no good, and a foul on Haley, who bumped into Bear and knocked her over. Good sportsmanship there by Haley, helping her up. Certainly unintentional, but she'll still be called with the foul. And Elias Spratling checks in for Alana Ross.
Yeah, John, like you mentioned, just 3 seniors for these two teams combined. If we are right on that, we could be wrong, but that's what we see on our papers. We talk a lot about seniors having their last chance to continue on, and some that lose, but there won't be a whole lot. These two very young teams, very competitive teams, excited to see what they can do in the future with young bright stars.
It's a great point, and there's a lot of teams in the Peoria area that are really good and also very young. Washington, a team that certainly comes to mind, as how about Lexi Bear is sold away from Remmel, but it goes off of her hand, and it will remain with the Eagles. Nice heads-up play there.
Just to show how important having a young roster can be. Look on the boys' side of things. Last year, Metamora, very young team. They went to state, and now this year, #1 team in 3A. It can really help you build and continue off of that success. Both these teams looking to do so.
That's a great point there, Teddy. Obviously, not much better things to see as a head coach is more than a team that's full of sophomores and juniors and putting up over 20 wins in a season. Dunlap lead is 2. It's Solberger with it now. Number 3 on number 3. She gets a screen from Cruz. Now it's Remmel. Finds Solberg. She drives baseline. Acrobatic layup is off the mark, but the rebound is in. Peyton Haley has been active on both sides of the ball. Hasn't scored a ton, but that's a big one there to push the lead back to 4. Here's Ross, another 3, but that three-pointer won't count. She made it. That one's got a sting like a hornet for Richwoods. Could have brought it within 1, but instead, she walked with it.
Both teams showing promise in the last 2 possessions. How about Peyton Haley, been the offensive rebound machine for Dunlap, and she gets fouled.
Gets up slowly there, but she'll be all right to shoot the free throws. That foul goes on Jay Harris. That's her second, so at least to our count, only player with 3 fouls is Brenia Hickman. That's the 6th foul on Richwoods as a team. First free throw is in for Peyton Haley. But again, Dunlap, again with 5:51 on the clock, they're playing the bonus for the rest of this game. Haley resets. Her second free throw is good. That's 4 quick points for the senior. That's what seniors do. Got to rely on them in big moments like these. Elias Spratling elevates for the jumper, and it's no good. But Harris stepped on the line, and that momentum just starts to inch more towards Dunlap's direction. Now it'll be tough if you're Richwoods playing defense because Dunlap's hurting you from all different spots of the floor. They come away with it. Jay Harris had it, and Todd Hersey called a timeout. Smart call there. She only had possession for about a second or 2, but Hersey called a timeout right at the right time, and it looks like it will stay Knights basketball out of this timeout.
30-second timeout.
Teddy, if you're Richwoods, who do you go to in these moments? You're down at 6, and, what do you try and look for on the offensive end? Obviously, wide open layups are the easy answer, but assuming that, Dunlap's able to prevent that from happening, what are you trying to maybe look for? What do you like to see out of the Knights in this last 5:29?
Well, a lot of times when teams start to trail and one of the team that's leading is hitting a lot of threes, they'll try to match that. I think you got to keep going with what was working with you in the first half, what had you with the big lead you had, and you can't steer too far away from that. You were in the driver's seat, now you just got to get back there.
See the Dunlap student section, they're out in full force tonight. They're pretty loud. And I want to see their Eagles play on Thursday on their home court for a regional title. At 3 ball off the mark. It looks good, though, for a second. Haley over to Solberger. And Spratling, a tough foul there. Real aggressive play. She picks up her 3rd foul. So he can't falter for wanting to come away with a turnover, but no real chance of coming away with that one. She checks out. Adriana Barber, who started this game for Richwoods, back in. And Solberger will head to the line now for Dunlap.
Yeah, John, one of the things we mentioned was for Richwoods to watch the fouls, and although they don't have as many fouls as they did in the first half, they still have quite a few, as obviously Dunlap is in the bonus. And that might just be one of the key factors for Dunlap. Although they've been hitting shots, those free throws definitely help.
Solberger just gets 1 at the line that time, but it's enough to make it a 3-possession game. Unless a rare 4-point play were to happen, in which case it would be a 2-possession game. Hyder with it now, working on Remmel. 2 of the premier players in the Peoria area there. Barber lays it up, underhanded, couldn't get it. And a foul there. Not sure if that's what you want at all if you're Richwoods. A quick foul, and all that does is get Dunlap closer to the double bonus and puts Peyton Haley at the line. That one went on Cameron Hyder rather than Barber. That will be Hyder's first foul, but again, maybe just a hair too aggressive there if you're Richwoods. 2 fouls that didn't really necessarily need to make
Substitution for Dunlap.
if you're the Knights. Haley made her first. Second one is off the front iron. Good rebound there from Lexi Bear. She's listed as a guard, but she's pretty tall, so she can play both the guard and the forward. Ross thought about a three, kicks it over to Barber. Good man defense by the Eagles, and they almost come away with a steal, but Bear stays with it. Barber clamoring for the ball, and she's got it, but Cruz was able to affect the shot. Barber was fouled on try number 2. That one looks like it'll go on Peyton Haley. So big free throws here for Adriana Barber. Again, over 4 minutes left to play, so still lots of time, even if you miss these free throws. Didn't want to say it before she released it, otherwise that would have been accused of broadcaster's jinx.
You know, John, although she did have the foul that gave up these free throws, Peyton Haley has been very good for the Dunlap Eagles. 6 points in the game. She's been very good defensively. Very, very good rebounders, we've mentioned. Almost the X factor for this Dunlap team so far.
I certainly agree with you there, Teddy. She's done a little bit of everything for the Eagles. By our count, she's got just 6 points, but she's got a lot more rebounds, a couple assists, and just playing real good basketball overall. And again, it's the playoffs, like you mentioned, you can score all you want to, but you got to do everything really to really stand out in the playoffs as that pass goes too high. So opportunity for Richwoods here to cut this lead down just a bit more. Again, they led at the half 19-11. But Dunlap a huge third quarter with 4 3-pointers. Hyder drives on Morris, has some open space. And Mariah Hickman tried to draw a foul there on Haley and did so. That looks like that'll be Haley's third. That's also something you got to monitor if you're Dunlap. Maybe they'll go right back to Hickman and maybe try and get Haley to pick up her 4th as Caroline Holmes checks out for the Eagles.
Richwoods taking a little bit out of the Eagles' book here, taking a few fouls the last few possessions. Get some of those free throws to land.
Here's Bear, guarded by Remmel. Remmel's played some good defense on Lexi Bear. Here's a 3-ball from Hyder, it's good! What a shot from Cameron Hyder, and it couldn't have come at a much better time. She's up in double figures, and Richwoods is right back into this ball game. Cruz sets a nice screen there for Solberger, who dribbles it back out. Solid D there from Jay Harris off the bench, and that'll be a push. Solberger will head to the line for 1 and 1. Real intense defense being played on both sides of the ball, and sort of think that we may see a lot more fouls mount up in this one by both sides, Teddy.
It does look like it, and for Richwoods, you know, early on when you're leading like you were, you're able to afford those fouls for the most part, but when you're down, you're trailing, it's a close game. You need to hold on to those. You can still play physical defense, but those fouls are really risky.
You can also hope for a Dunlap miss as they did there, but Lexi Bear traveled on the other end, turns it back over, so a golden opportunity there for the Knights. Again, I think for Richwoods, it all comes down to defense. Solberger with it now over to Remmel. Nice double team there. Solberger now over to Peyton Haley. Double team to the corner. She's in some trouble, and Heather Cassidy calls timeout. Very smart decision there. And the Eagles will maintain possession of the basketball. 4 points their advantage right now, but you got to know if you're the Dunlap Eagles and Heather Cassidy that Richwoods is going to give you all they got. I mean, this is do or die time, and, you know, they just got to – they're going to give you everything they have in the tank because otherwise their season's over. So what do you do if you're Dunlap? You're leading by 4 in this situation.
Yeah, John, you're right. If you're Dunlap, you got to stick with what you've had success with. Obviously, this second half, they've played like a whole different ball game. But we know both teams are able to score at will. We saw early on in the game an 8-1 lead for the Richwoods Knights, and then Eagles were able to come back. Now you got a 4-point lead, sorry, 4-point lead. Oh my God, math is not doing it right now, but the Richwoods Knights, they're definitely doing it. They have a chance to do it. So they're within 4, golden opportunity with 3 minutes left. It's a closer game than you might think.
Lots of time left in this one. 2:58 in basketball time. It seems like an eternity. And Dunlap, it will be their basketball in near the corner. Now Remmel on the three-point line. Hyder came right there. Justice Cruz now back out to Keyless Morris. That would have been a huge shot for her first points of the game. Lexi Bear with the rebound, almost had it taken away from her. Richards got major numbers, 4-on-1. Here comes Hyder, takes it down to Hickman, and she draws the foul. Remmel says, I was straight up. You saw her say, I wasn't moving at all. Either way, a tough call, but Hickman will head to the line, and Remmel picks up. That's just her first foul. Big free throws here for Brenia Hickman, though. First one didn't really have much of a chance off the front and the side iron. And, you know, at this point of the season, Teddy, you know, Richwoods, this is their 30th game of the year. Dunlap, their 29th. You know, free throws don't get any easier as Hickman makes one there because, you know, you got some tired legs that have pretty much been playing basketball every day since probably at least October. Remmel dribbles out of traffic. Important for Dunlap not to turn the ball over here. A little over 2 to go. Remmel almost shot the 3 there. That would have been big, but they decide that running clock is the priority.
John, I like you mentioned the basketball every day since October thing because at a certain point you got to think when fatigue starts to catch up with you. But it seems that like these two teams, with the defensive aggression they've shown, offensive prowess both of these teams have right now, no fatigue has seemed to kick in for either of these teams. They're looking to continue on into the IHSA playoffs.
Certainly, and you know, not every team really gets tired, you know, and really the best teams, you know, can, you know, show off why, hey, we actually aren't tired. We're just starting to peak at the right time. We're save our best basketball for last. Solberger makes it a 4-point game. That's a big free throw, and Dunlap now in the double bonus the rest of the way out. So Richwoods has to get just a little bit luckier now if they want to hope for some misses. They do there. Back to a 4-point game. Dunlap trailed by 8 at the half, but the second half has belonged to them. And Bear has it. Fight for it on the floor. Richwoods has the possession arrow, but Dunlap comes away with it. Solberger gives it over to Remmel, and missed chance for Richwoods. Remmel drives in. Over to Haley, now finds Holmes, 3-ball in the corner for a 7-point lead. It's good! The freshman Caroline Holmes with a huge 3 for the Eagles. How about relying on your freshman in crunch time?
How big has Caroline Holmes been? I feel like she's made at least 3, possibly more 3s in this game. It's been very impressive to see not only her, but the rest of the Eagles, what they can do beyond the arc.
Richwoods started to get a little frustrated, turned it over with a travel on the other end. They've had a couple of those in the second half. Now with just a minute 20 left to go, they're down 7. I think you gotta start playing the foul game sooner rather than later. Dunlap is keeping around the perimeter. Bear almost fouled Solberger. Now a minute 8 left to go. Remmel drives lane, and now it's back out to Caroline Holmes. Richwoods' season is hanging in the balance right now. They need something maybe not miraculous at this point, but they need a lot of things to go their way as we have just exactly a minute left to go on the clock here. Otherwise, it's curtains on the 2022-2023 season for the Richwoods Knights.
And John, even if it is, you got to give a shout out to the Richwoods Knights and the impressive season they've been able to accomplish. Many highlights, a lot of impressive games and outings from all the players on the team. That's why we still got a minute to go, so there could be many more.
And if you're Richwoods, I think, you know, you got to really start looking at Lexi Bear. You got to find ways for her to get open, maybe set a pair of screens, have her come around. She's one of their biggest 3-point threats. She can knock them down in a hurry. As Hyder gets the rebound, it's an 8-point deficit for Richwoods. Certainly still enough time. they get some turnovers and missed shots. Hyder's three. It's good! Cameron Hyder keeping Richwoods in this ball game. And it's only a 5-point deficit now with 50.9. So, again, Teddy, just shows how quickly the ball game can change, because 1 minute, it looks like Dunlap could be up 9. That free throw, but they missed it. And then Hyder comes down on the other end and buries a huge three. She's played amazing for the night so far, got 13 points. That leads their team.
Yeah, Alana Ross, Cameron Hyder, and Lexi Bear have really done it tonight for the Richwoods Knights. I'd say overall, Dunlap has been able to spread the ball around a little bit more, but Richwoods has really done a great job playing through their stars and maximizing their capabilities.
Just over 50 seconds left to play. Glad you're with us either on clutchsportsil.com or ciproud.com or our YouTube channel as well. This game has lived up to its billing. The 4 and the 6 seeds in the Dunlap Regional duking it out. Lots of good teams in the area, but only a couple from the River City will emerge. It's Remmel with it now. Hyder tried to poke it out and almost did. Now she's stuck in the corner. Good chance there for the Knights, and Heather Cassidy recognized that, said, hey, we want to call timeout and get us out of that corner.
John, I think this is a perfect opportunity for the Eagles to kind of waste the clock a little bit. Even if you don't hold it the whole time, it's definitely enough to limit the Richwoods Knights and their opportunities to catch back up in this game.
Definitely 35.8 left to go, and there's a myriad of things that could happen. Richwoods could seal an inbound, get a wide open layup down on the other end, and that makes it a 3-point game. But, I think, again, I wouldn't say this game is going to be decided on a free throw contest, but I think a lot of it's going to depend on how well Dunlap can shoot their free throws and how well they can take care of the ball down the stretch. Remmel to inbound for Dunlap. They probably won't be trying to shoot. Trying to run some clock, and Alyssa Ross commits the foul there on Solberger.
Richwoods foul. Alyssa Ross for second.
Solberger has made a couple and missed a couple at the line. First one is up and good. That makes it a 6-point game. This is the big one here, because this one makes it most likely a 3-possession ball game. Dunlap sends all 4 of their players back, and Solberger goes 2 for 2, ice in the veins for Julia Solberger, who they call Bubba. 3-pointer from Ross is off the mark, and Cruz with the rebound. Richards trying to get the jump ball, and it will be a jump. Good aware call, good aware play, I should say, by the Knights. They need to score quick, though. Inbounds it to Baird, now over to Ross. Here comes Hyder. Great defense there by Haley. Here's Hickman in the paint, and it's stripped away by Solberger. It'll stay with the Richwoods, but great job by Julia Solberger to strip it away, because it looked like Hickman could have gotten the and one there.
Yeah, smart IQ play, and that's what the Eagles have been able to do all fourth quarter long.
Ross gets the bucket and the foul. Holmes, instinctively, obviously you want to defend each shot. Maybe it would have been a little bit better just letting her shoot the 2 and not getting the extra free throw. Maybe, we'll see, maybe if Ross tries to intentionally miss. Could be an option, but no, she just tries to make it and does. 4-point ball game now. You got to foul quick, and they do. That one going on Alana Ross. It's like that will be her 4th foul, if I'm not mistaken. It is indeed her 4th, as the PA announcer confirms. 10.8 left to go on the clock. These are even bigger free throws now for Solberger. First one takes a nice heavy thud off the front rim against the members' bounce.
Yeah, she's definitely not one you want to foul in a situation like this. She's been lights out from the line tonight.
And knocks down 2 again. Richwoods needs a 3, a turnover, and another 3. Here's Ross, drives inside. You gotta go for a 3 here, but Cruz gets the rebound, fights off defenders. The buzzer is sounded, and that's the basketball game. The Dunlap Eagles defend their home court and move on to the regional title, where they will face the Peoria High Lions in a thrilling ball game. They dominate the second half and win 46-40.
God, what a play by Cruz there in the last possession. Obviously, the game might have been, for the most part, over, but able to not cause the jump ball and hold on to possession. What a play.
What a basketball game here in Dunlap. The Eagles come away the victors, and they'll face Peoria High on Thursday evening in this gym. Step aside for a quick word for our sponsor to wrap things up here on Clutch Sports Media. Coming up here right. Welcome back to Dunlap. What a basketball game we just saw. The IHSA postseason is just getting started. Lots of excitement right off the bat. Our first broadcast of the playoff season, and Dunlap takes it by 6 points. 2 different ball games we saw here today, Teddy. Obviously, Peoria High just dominates Metamora, but that one, the outcome was in question all the way through, even up until the final couple of seconds, because you never know what Richwoods could do at the very end. But Julia Solberger, I gotta say, gotta give her some major props. Goes 4 for 4 at the line on the stretch.
Yeah, it was impressive. Everybody on the Dunlap Eagles seemed like they knew what they were doing when it came in crunch time. But you got to give credit. You could say it was a second-half comeback, but it was really a third-quarter comeback, because after the third quarter, it seemed like the Dunlap Eagles just had possession.
Certainly, and really even fourth quarter, but at third, which they outscored the Knights 20-6, the difference maker in this ball game. You look at the first, second, and the fourth, and you could say, well, Richwoods probably won that game, but great effort by the Eagles coming out of halftime. That must have been a heck of a halftime speech from Heather Cassidy. That made all the difference in this one. But Teddy, we mentioned at halftime our first half Valentine's, what we love from both teams. Now that the game is finished, in the spirit of Valentine's Day, let's give it some more. Let's be a little generous. What did you love from both teams here tonight?
All right, well, I think if you're the Dunlap Eagles, one of your Valentines of that second half, or even just the whole game, is that you can look forward and ride that momentum going into a big game against the Peoria High Lions. As for the Richwoods Knights, although they come up with the loss, you still got to love the play from your seniors and the play from your whole team. It's a tough season, a great season, but it's a tough, long season all the way through. So respect to both teams, and I think they're both happy with the overall season outcome.
Certainly another good year from the Richwoods Knights, a team that was state champions back in 2017 and 2018 for that season. They've had to rebuild a little bit, but they're continually making progress, and they're going to be really good next year. And then you got Elias Spratling, Adriana Barber, Alyssa Ross, Alana Ross, Cameron Hyder, Lexi Bear, Bernaya Hickman, all back for the Knights. They only lose one senior, and that's Kalias Thomas. So shout out to her. Sure, a great high school career for her. It comes to an end tonight, but this Richwoods team, they're going to be really scary next year, and they still finished 17-13 overall, 6-3 in the Big 12 Conference, which has been the strongest it's been in quite some time. But as Dunlap moving on, they'll face the Peoria High Lions. I believe that's not the first time these two teams have faced off. Teddy, well, look for that, maybe see if these two teams have faced off, and also other scores from P&D and Morton. What are you really looking forward to on Thursday night between the Eagles and the Lions?
It's going to be an awesome matchup. I'm excited. Dunlap has been a great team all season long, so is Peoria, obviously one of the best teams in the state. But I think both teams have a lot of momentum, but if you are the Dunlap Eagles, I think a momentum coming off a close game is a lot bigger than the momentum coming off a blowout win, although a blowout win is might be more impressive. progressing with your team after a hard-fought win, that's got to feel special going into another game.
Definitely a big win for Dunlap, and the Eagles, they'll try and keep the old adage of it's tough to be a team 3 times alive. They're 0-2 against the Peoria High Lions, losing 59-53 in the Limestone tournament back in November, and they also fell to them 60-40 at the Manual tournament in December. But that was November and December. This is February, and this is playoff basketball across the state of Illinois, and we are just getting things started on Clutch Sports Media. I want to thank all of you who tuned in and spent the night with us. It was a great doubleheader of action. We'll be, well, we're not sure where we'll be on Thursday. We may be back here. We may be in Limestone. We may be at both places at the same time. We'll certainly try and cover as many games as we can.
But one thing's guaranteed, John, we will be in a place with great basketball.
That is certainly true. Great final thought there from Teddy Ball, but I think that about wraps it up here from Dunlap. The Eagles win 46-40. Richwoods falls 46-40. I got mixed up with them in Peoria High. Peoria High, a big win over Metamora earlier today. Again, if you want to go watch that game, Aaliyah Guyton and Nolly Craig Edwards, see them strut their stuff. That game, we just stream it on our YouTube channel. Go back and watch that on demand. But this is Jonathan Michael signing off from Dunlap. I want to thank all of our great crew that helped us out tonight. Ethan Carboni, Francisco Alonso, Rodrigo Perez, and Patrick Huber. Signing off here from Dunlap. It's the Eagles and the Lions facing off on Thursday for a regional title game